What knowledge might save your life one day? If you drive, after being up for more than 17 hours, the level of your impairment is equal to legally being drunk. Don't drive while sleepy. If you ever fall/get pushed down from the platform onto the rails at a subway station, try to roll under the platform. Many stations have space there, like little overhang, for exactly that reason. If you are ever bitten by a bat, raccoon, fox, or skunk, go directly to the hospital. There is no cure for rabies once it is fully onset. Out of all history, only 5 people survived rabies. Meredith Palmer being one of the 5. EMT here. If you're ever choking on food in a public venue, do not go to the restroom to avoid causing a scene. Almost every death I've seen from people choking are found unconscious in a bathroom stall because they were too polite to seek help. I feel like if there's any situation in which it's okay to not be polite, it's when you're choking to death. If you're a pedestrian and crossing a street, if you can see the sun's reflection on the windshield of a car, there's a good chance the driver cannot see you. If your shadow points toward the car, same. When you go into a building, look for an exit that is not the one you used to come in. In an emergency, most people will head out their original exit, but you will head out of the exit less traveled, and it may make all the difference. If you fall into cold open water, resist the urge to swim and try to float until the onset of panic subsides. Once you have your breathing under control, you can then start to swim to safety. By doing this, you will not hyperventilate and avoid potentially drowning. To float, slowly lift your legs up. Keep your arms out at surface and lean your head back. Yes, you will get water in your ears, just let it be. If you ever are kayaking and become pinned upside down, swim down deeper into the water to escape the kayak. You may not be able to flip it over. If you're first in line at an intersection, look both ways before going. When the light turns green, you never know when someone is going to run a red light. If you're ever charged by a moose, get behind a tree. They have about a 10-inch blind spot, and they'll lose you. That's what Ski Patrol would always say when there were an increase in moose sightings on the mountain. They'd tell you to stay out of the trees when skiing, unless a moose is running at you. Then find trees, because unless you've got a steep hill, or are already up to speed, the moose is probably faster than you think. Never use bleach and ammonia-based cleaning products at the same time / in the same room. A combination of both their vapors creates chloramine vapor, which can kill you if inhaled. Check your cleaning supplies to see what's in them, especially toilet and tile cleaners. This is also why you don't use bleach to clean up cat urine. If you've been buried alive in a standard coffin, stay calm. If you are alive, you haven't been buried that long. Also, the dirt above you hasn't set yet. Most coffins are not built to last once buried, and as a result have weak siding. So here is what you do. Pull your shirt over your head. You don't want to be swallowing dirt. Position yourself so you are as sideways in the coffin as possible, with hands and feet pushing on the long sides. Push. You should be able to blow out one of the walls. Start crawling up. Do not panic. You may not find a grip immediately. Keep going until you make it out. Worst nightmare. If you call 911, always say where the problem is first, followed by the problem. If you happen to get cut off before you can say what the problem is, at least the dispatcher has a location to send an officer to check it out and advise if more police or fire is needed. Example: operator 911, where is your emergency? You: help, I'm being stabbed, disconnect. Versus operator 911, where is your emergency? You: 742 Evergreen Terrace, help, I am, disconnect. Location, location, location. As someone who works at 911, I'll just add a bit of additional info. A lot of people assume we magically know where they are when they call 911, and sometimes we do, to an extent. When your phone call comes in, there's 2 stages your phone call has. We call them a phase 1 and a phase 2. Your phase 1 location will plot your location, where the cell tower is, so if you don't tell us where you are before you disconnect, and we have a phase 1 location, you're effed if you're in an emergency. Sure, we can look up your phone history and see if there's any address associated with your phone number, but if there isn't any, good luck. When we get a phase 2, most of the time it's pretty accurate, sometimes even being directly on top of where you are. I think the phase 2 location is based off of multiple cell tower hits that triangulate your location, but don't quote me on that. I'm actually not sure. If we get an open line phone call, no one is talking, we hear stuff going on in the background, we'll get a phase 2 location and send the police out to the area. Sometimes they find the person who called in, sometimes they don't. Sideshell Bob can stab faster than you can explain. Makes sense. Always leave your itinerary with someone. If you meet strangers, that is, potential bad people, on the road, always let them know that you are in touch with friends and family and that they know exactly where you are. You become less attractive as a victim. Edit. Always let strangers know that you have a destination and are expected at a particular time too. Always let strangers know that you have a destination and are expected at a particular time too. This is really useful when traveling in areas where taxis/tuk-tuks will try to bring you somewhere better. Just tell them you're meeting a friend and they shut up. When you're staying in a hotel, take the time to read the diagram on the back of the door showing where the emergency escape route is. Take your room key with you if you leave the room in an emergency, as you might need to get back. Have your shoes on when the flight you're on is landing or taking off. Statistically, that's when bad stuff happens, and you don't want to be in bare feet for an evacuation. If someone is choking, ask them, are you choking? Bear with me. If they can answer you, they are not choking. If they can't, you can go straight to the Heimlich maneuver. If you're accidentally poisoned with methanol, ethanol is an effective treatment as medical help isn't immediately available. Don't get the drinks from the same place that poisoned you in the first place. If you are in danger or in need of help in a public place, it's almost always a bad idea to just yell help. It's more important to be specific. Pointing at someone and telling them to call 911 will be more effective. The bystander effect can be a real bitch sometimes. I tell my kids to break windows if someone is attacking them or the like. Yelling help may not get cops, breaking windows will. I'll gladly pay for windows to keep my kids safe. I can't replace my kids. If your car is going underwater, an electronic roll down button will work regardless of the water pressure outside the car, but a manual handle is much more difficult. You also won't be able to open the door. It's better to have something in the glove box, like an ice scraper, to break the glass with. Mythbusters did a whole thing on it. That episode saved a woman's life. She wrote to them to tell them, and Adam Savage cried knowing he'd helped to save a life. Mythbusters saved my life, or at least my house. I was a early teen and was cooking bacon. The pan caught fire, but I had just watched the episode where they put water on a grease fire, and it makes it way worse. If I hadn't have watched that episode, I would have probably thrown water on it, and it would have been no bueno. If someone is trying to abduct you, fight back. Most abductors will just give up if they meet resistance. And whatever you do, don't let them take you to another location. You ain't taking me to no secondary location. Street smarts. When people say to take an aspirin to help during a heart attack, chew the pill. Don't swallow it whole. It gets absorbed much quicker. 1 out of 20 people will get bowel cancer in their lifetime. You need some sort of screening starting at age 45 to 50 depending on your family history. Any blood in the stool needs to be checked out. Early cancers can be completely cured with keyhole surgery. You don't have to die of bowel cancer. In Australia, when you turn 50, the government starts sending you free testing kits every 2 years. If you have what looks like a small pimple or a spider bite and you see a red line streaking away from that area towards your body, go to an emergency room. You likely have a staph or strep infection that is spreading through your lymphatic system or bloodstream, and your body can go septic at any moment. Sepsis lethality is 40-60%. This happened to me earlier this year and I only knew how serious it was because of a post I read on Reddit years back. If you've been carjacked and the carjacker tells you to just drive, take whatever chance you get to wreck. At minimum, you're getting emergency services involved, meaning it's more likely they'll be caught, and there's a chance you'll incapacitate, or even kill the carjacker. Of course, there's also a chance that you might not survive, but if they are taking you to a second location, odds are you weren't going to come back anyway. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.